Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody had a wonderful Labor Day. There were a couple of stories that were mildly interesting, and by mildly, I mean really mildly. Apparently, Josh from Massachusetts, God, I forget his name, his screen handle. I don't watch him. He's the auditor with real big breastises. Anyway, I was directed to one of his videos, and he was passenger in a car, ordered out. No, actually, he was ordered to stay in, but he jumped out. And he said that Pennsylvania v. Mimms somehow prevented the cops from demanding that he stay in the car. I don't know why he would say that. Pennsylvania v. Mimms allowed the officer to direct the driver of the vehicle to exit the vehicle for officer safety during a traffic stop. Nothing to do with passengers. More on point, Brennan v. California and Arizona v. Johnson both allow, they're both Supreme Court decisions. They build on each other. They allow officers to, they basically set forth that the passengers are seized, just like the driver is. And it was the amount of probable cause or reasonable suspicion that allowed them to stop the driver. That applies to the passengers. And so from that point, the passengers are seized just like the driver is, subject to the officer's control, and they can be searched, like Terry frisked, just like the driver could be, etc. Provided that the officers have reasonable suspicion that the passenger is armed and dangerous. So there is no authority that I am aware of that prevents the cop from telling you to stay in the car. In fact, normally people like to stay in the car, except I guess Josh, who likes to place the officers in a position where they're forced to make a choice of whether or not they apply force to him because he's stupid or something. Bitch Tits Bob, I think, is his Fight Club name. Anyway. So that was semi-interesting video number one. Again, not very interesting, just a misstatement of law, misunderstanding of law that was patently absurd on its face. The other misstatement of law that's patently absurd on its face is I saw Ginger Snap, James Freeman, James Allen Springer, for those of you who want to know his real name. Anyway, long criminal history on that guy too. He reposted a video, or he linked to a video in his community section. I don't know exactly how it came up, but it was up to a Eric Brandt video. It was Eric Brandt getting interviewed by a news reporter in jail. Eric Brandt's in jail facing felony charges, or at least he was back when this video was made, facing felony charges for threatening a judge. And Springer said, as he goes by Freeman, said, they're trying to violate Brandt's Fifth Amendment rights by having a journalist do the sheriff's job of interviewing Brandt. Well, there's a lot wrong with that. First of all, the sheriff could have just interviewed Brandt if the sheriff wanted to interview Brandt. And the reporter can't make Brandt violate his Fifth Amendment, or can't make Brandt answer a question that Brandt doesn't want to answer. In fact, the sheriff is probably much more coercive and could probably put Brandt in a position where Brandt was uncomfortable or tired, bring Brandt in the middle of the night for an interview, or make Brandt stay in the interview office for longer periods of time, etc. So there's not the same level of coercion there. And there's nothing preventing the sheriff from interviewing Brandt at will, because Brandt doesn't have an attorney. And normally the attorney would be the constraint on how often you can interview the person and whatnot. But since Brandt doesn't have an attorney, then there's no Sixth Amendment restraint on trying to get additional info out of Brandt. But anyway, the Fifth Amendment doesn't protect you against saying things that you may happen to say. That's why jailhouse snitches are a popular thing, because they know that if you talk to them, they don't have to notify you that they're going to tell the cops what you tell them, and then they can use that to try to negotiate a lower sentence for themselves. So there's absolutely no Fifth Amendment violation by Brandt agreeing, because he obviously agreed to be interviewed by the news. It probably stroked his ego, and that's fine. But I just want to remind everybody that just because you're in jail, just because you have been arrested, it doesn't change the fact that you may say something that might incriminate you and you don't know what it is. And a taped interview means that they could scour through it looking for anything. They may just use that little piece of tape to ask you the same question later and get a different answer from you and impeach you. You gave a different answer then than you're giving now. Falso in uno, falso in omnibus. If you lied now, or if you lied then, there's no guarantee you're not lying now. So anyway, don't talk to the police. If you're in jail, don't give interviews. Let your lawyer give the interview, because what your lawyer says can't be used against you, etc. Anyway, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.